As we know, dividend stocks make regular distributions of cash and stock to their shareholders. Of course, the top dividend stocks offer a good long-term appreciation, and income investors who desire cash flow purchase them. What's up everyone? In today's video, we will be covering the top 10 best dividend stocks that you must consider investing in. We'll make sure you're guided as we will compare and direct you on which dividend stock you might be looking for. But before we start the video, only a small percentage of people that watch our videos are subscribed. So, make sure to subscribe and leave a like if you do enjoy the video. Now without further ado, let's jump right in. Coming right up at number 10 is the Union Pacific Corp. Union Pacific operates the largest rail transport network in the US. But despite having the lowest dividend yield on our list, UNP has one of the highest dividend growth rates in this roundup, increasing its payout by an average of 16.5% annually over the past 5 years. Looming recession fears have affected UNP, and the stock is nearly 25% below its most recent all-time. That could provide an attractive entry point for dividend investors looking to own a growing company. Earnings have climbed at an average rate of 13.8% over the last 5 years, while Union Pacific has outperformed the S&P 500 by a very modest 2.8% per year over the last decade. The price of this stock is $211.35 US. Now for number 9 is Allstate Corp. With a stock price of $128.55 US, Allstate is the largest liability and property insurer in the US, and it has sustained the greatest average dividend growth rate of more than 18%, tying with TXN of nearly every stock on this list over the last 5 years. That said, ALL's average earnings growth rate has been more moderate, growing by an average rate of 10.9% over the last 5 years, the lowest growth rate on the list. The dividend yield is low, and shares are currently 10% below their April 2022 highs. Now for our number 8 spot is Home Depot Inc. Home Depot is the largest home improvement retailer in the US, Canada, and Mexico, with more than 2,300 stores. One of the best payout growth rates on this list, it has maintained a 5-year average dividend growth rate of 16.4%. Meanwhile, annual earnings were up by an average of nearly 19% over 5 years, second only to FAF, and HD has handily outperformed the S&P 500 by an average of nearly 8% a year for the last decade. Home Depot stock declined in 2022 along with the housing and retail markets. Given that HT has dropped more than 30% from its all-time high in December 2022, dividend investors have a fantastic opportunity to purchase a business with an inspiring growth trajectory. Additionally, the price of the stock is $320.48 US. Now for number 7 is Lockheed Martin Corporation. Lockheed Martin is the largest defense contractor in the world and a leading industrial stock. It makes fighter jets, helicopters, missiles, and missile defense systems, satellites, and space vehicles. LMT presently has a more modest dividend yield and the second slowest rate of average dividend growth over the last 5 years. Earnings have grown at an average rate of 12.3% over the last 5 years. The stock has outperformed the S&P 500 by nearly 8% a year on average over the last decade. Lockheed has fared better than any other equities in the challenging 2022 markets, much like TXN. But despite being around 13% off their record high set in March 2022, LMT stock has gained more than 18% so far this year. The price for the stock is $483.58 US. Now for number 6 is Texas Instrument Corporated. TXN is the world's largest maker of analog chips. With a stock price of $174.26 US, the company has grown dividends at an average annual rate of more than 18% during the last 5 years. That's the highest dividend growth of almost every other stock on this list, tying with Allstate. TXN has sustained average EPS growth of nearly 70% over the last 5 years. Thanks to this strong earnings growth, the company should be able to maintain a decent dividend in the future. The stock has outperformed the S&P 500 by 8.8% per year over the last 10 years. That makes it one of the best performing stocks on this list. Before we move on to number 5, I observed that just 7% of you guys watching is subscribed. So, if you want to support us for more content like this, please hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, comment on the stock that you're eyeing so far and tell us why. Now back to the video, here's number 5, BlackRock Inc. The iShares line of exchange-traded funds is managed by BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world. Despite having a US base, the company makes a sizable portion of its money abroad. Compared to the other stocks on our list, the average dividend and EPS growth over the past 5 years has been lower. The current price for the stock is $706.96 US. Investors now have access to a more favorable dividend yield thanks to the approximately 38% share price decline of BLK since its all-time high in November 2021. Moving on to number 4 is Extra Space Storage Inc. Extra Space Storage operates as a real estate investment trust or REIT that owns and operates more than 2,000 storage facilities around the US. EXR offers a solid dividend yield and has witnessed a very good average growth in the payout over the last 5 years, as it has produced average EPS growth of more than 16%. The share price has declined approximately 25% from its December 2021 top, yet its performance vis-a-vis the S&P 500 has been among the strongest on the list, beating the benchmark index by an average of 9.6% each year over the last decade. Its current stock price is $156.58 US. Now for our number 3 spot, JP Morgan Chase & Company. JP Morgan Chase & Company is one of the largest financial institutions in the US. It has a respectable dividend yield and has consistently increased its payout over the previous 5 years. The current price for its stock is $132.16 US. JPM has grown EPS at a steady average rate of nearly 15% annually. But just be aware that the stock's 35% price decline since October 2021 is a contributing factor to its current high dividend yield. Now for number 2, Packaging Corp of America. Packaging Corp is one of the leading package manufacturers in the US, focused on corrugated materials and containerboard. PKG offers a decent dividend yield and solid average dividend growth over the last 5 years. With a current price of $135.11 US, shares are currently around 18% below the all-time highs recorded in April, making the dividend yield look slightly more advantageous today than it would have been in the spring. On average, the stock has beaten the S&P 500 by 7.5% each year for the last decade. Now for our number 1 spot, the First American Corp. Finally, the first on our list is FAF. FAF is a real estate insurance provider and has the most modest 5-year average dividend growth rate by 14% or more over the last 5 years. But over the same period, it also maintained earnings per share gains of nearly 25% on average, the best earnings growth rate of all the stocks on our list. With a stock price of $53.12 US at the present, FAF is down about 30% from its January high, which has provided a temporary jolt to the stock's dividend yield. Since yield is determined by dividing the dividend rate by the stock price, the yield increases when the price decreases with the payout amount. Over the last decade, First American's share price growth has outpaced the S&P 500 by 2.3% per year on average. Although it's slightly lower than the other stocks on the list, the return is still fantastic. Alright folks, that sums up our list of the best dividend stocks you should consider investing in for next year. I hope this video helped you in choosing the right stocks. As always, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content like this. We'll see you next time.